Right. Somewhere del piso here. So we have the Greeks with the Greeks, right? We have the Jews here with Israel. We have Spaniards with Spain. There's always this sense of patriotism and nationalism for the various cultures and countries that we grew up in, right? That we were born in, right? There's an inherent, an inherent passion, an inherent love for these places for one reason or another. Being Greek or just being American is the best thing to be. It feels so good, maybe because of the various economic benefits, the various, the way that Americans sort of trounce most sports in the Olympics. Whatever the reasons may be, there's always this sense of patriotism that we have that's prevalent in this world for the countries that we are born into. I'm here to say this on semen retention or for individuals that vibrate high, because más o menos is one and the same. There will be no sense of nationalism. There will be no sense of patriotism because these things they're not important. They don't exist for us because they don't show us the same love. Like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna get right into this. What am I talking about? What is Sober Del Piso talking about, right? You have to understand that in this world, right, our cultures are very, very young in general. We still drink alcohol for celebration, even though it's poisonous. We still smoke cigarettes, smoke weed. Those things are still being sold en masse, even though that they are, what Obi-Wan calls death sticks, right? And we still do drugs, over-the-counter drugs, even though they are horrible for our bodies and horrible for our psyche. Our culture is very young. I have the utmost belief that one day we are going to triumph over these things. We are going to come to a point where we don't need these things, and the only health we need is self-medication, health, which comes about from being celibate, which comes about for us men, of course, being on semen retention, honing our energy and allowing the forces within us, that vital energy, that God particle that's found in semen, to rejuvenate us, to help us recuperate mental issues, physical issues, whichever. In reference to the culture being young, we still have, even though a lot of our countries committed all of these atrocities in the name of liberation, right? Speaking about the Western cultures specifically, we still have this utmost love for them. We have the British workman, right? The British employee that becomes incredibly ecstatic and completely happy when his team scores a goal against another country, the opposing country. Soccer team or whichever sport, rugby. You have to understand that these places don't show individuals with high vibration any love or adoration. I talk about in the channel, travel. I traveled a lot, guys. I don't know if, I probably talked about this myriad times in my previous videos. I've lived in England. I went to France, all over France. I went to Germany. I did Australia. I did South America. I did many, many countries around the world. And I've noticed the same constant variable in every one of these countries, even though, albeit the weather is more beautiful in one country, maybe you could take more advantage of geo arbitrage in another country, say like South America, if you're coming from like the Western cultures, Europe, the US. And still the people are essentially the same. They are essentially of the same blood, essentially the same type. They're patriots, right? They love their countries. We have individuals that, in Colombia, that wear their Colombian flags proudly on their chests, on their shirts, whenever they go on and, in whatever they're doing for the week or whatever. Their blood is still the same, right? In all individuals, they still hate and abhor individuals of high vibration. You will never be accepted by the majority. That is just a fact. It doesn't matter what color you are. You are vibrating high. You're on semen retention. You are doing the correct thing, right? Objectively following the manad, the creator's will. You will be hated. You're lucky they're not even allowing crucifixions now, because that's what's going to happen to you. As an individual, a proponent, right? We've been on the semen retention practice for a very, very long time. How has that been going in my life? Has there been any sort of patriots or nationalists, right, that sort of are excited to be themselves, right, around me? Sure, of course, they have a lot of pride for their country. They have a lot of pride for their various religions and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean much, right? Exactly. It doesn't really mean anything substantial. because they're not vibrating high, and the patriotism that they, or their country that they love so much, does not show any sort of love to everybody. The love is selective. Their care and adoration is selected and chosen. Gentlemen on semen retention, I'm telling you this, don't walk around being angry, right, at the world, even though there is no love in this culture, especially for individuals that vibrate high, because that's just the reality you're gonna have to face. People are just not gonna like you. Hello, how are you, sir? Right? People are just not gonna like you. That's just the way it is. Like I said, there is a social fabric, there is a rule, there are the ways that people are supposed to integrate with one another in this world. As a single man, or as a man in general, your motive is to follow the biological imperative into the void, into the dark tunnel, into the abyss. Run the risk of whatever comes about with chasing that biological imperative. You are supposed to have a lot of sex. You're supposed to take drugs when everyone is taking drugs. You're supposed to drink. Drinking is valid. You're supposed to start families. You're supposed to have children. You're supposed to continuously sacrifice your vital, independent life, right? All for the sake of following the biological imperative and the ways of the nationalists and the patriots of this world that push this silly lifestyle. When you go into these other environments, right, where you go to restaurants, you go to schools, you go to just social areas, you are not supposed to be on your own. You are not supposed to be an individual brave and assertive in these situations, because you have broken the social rule. You have broken the social fabric. You are not a patriot, right? You are not someone that stands up for your country, because you know that the country has done nothing for you, right? What are the rewards that you have gained from being here? Although you understand this completely, because your vibration will say it to the individuals of the world, you don't need to speak it. You still go into these situations and you are still, you still yourself. You are still brave, you are still amicable, and then you are still benevolent. When you are like that, you are broadcasting to the world that you do not need to follow their rules. You do not need to follow their customs and traditions. In all cultures around the world, no matter what gods they serve, they all follow the same thing. It is the complete hollowing of the biological imperative and running the risk of all the diseases and all the ailments that happens when you do not follow follow the biological imperative, as opposed to being an individual on semen retention that's understanding the ways and the machinations and the flow of the objective reality and how you fit into the grand plan. When you are an individual that understands these things, an individual that's on semen retention, you will be hated. Especially, you are going to have a sort of detest for your countries, because they don't do anything. They treat you the same as if you were an enemy of the country. They will give you no love. They will give you no adoration. They will give you no solace, because you are not part of their fold. You are not part of their system. You are proving with every single step that you can break the system. The system's rules don't matter, right? When you come to this realization, right, the more you go and, you live your lives, and I'm hoping that you guys are actually on semen retention, you're celibate, you're not aiming after the things of the world, no matter what religion tells you what, you're going to understand these things, and there's going to come a resentment, because everything that you knew, everyone that you knew, all your friends, your best buddies, your girlfriends, your family, they will all start to dislike you and detest you. There is nothing that your personal countries can do for you as an individual, especially when you vibrate high. You will not be defended. They will find some way to destroy you and crucify you, because they want to make an example out of individuals like you, because they don't want the rest of the world looking at your way of being and mimicking that way, lest you destroy the systems, the social systems in place. Let's give you some personal examples, right? Just in my life in general, right? I'd like to say that my mental health is pretty stark, right? I'm on point. But at the end of the day, a lot of things have changed in my personal life, just regarding people that I thought were cool, people that I thought were my friends, so on and so forth. We have people at the gym. There was a guy that I introduced to, we introduced ourselves to each other. We started working out with each other. I talked to him about my channel. I showed him my channel, and everything was cool at a point, but suddenly he just stopped talking to me. Out of nowhere, he avoids me. What did I do? I didn't say anything wrong to him. I just invited him to go work out. We had girls that I knew, right? Girls that I was speaking to at the gym and people in general. We have some neighbors that do the same thing too. We spoke with them and then they were cool at first. And then suddenly, of course, like I told you, I've been 10 months on this practice of semen retention, celibacy, no release, no splurging, none of that. No drinking, no smoking, no cigarettes, no weed, nothing. The more you grow, remember, this is compounding spiritual growth that is occurring within your vessel. I started to speak with these same neighbors and they just didn't want to talk to me. They ignored me. The same girls that I used to talk to, they ignored me too, without any explanation. Let's talk about, I grew up Roman Catholic. I don't think I told you guys, right, on the channel. I grew up Roman Catholic. I grew up in the system, right? And I had a nun. I was really badly behaved when I was younger, of course, of lower vibration. I couldn't control a lot of the energies that were occurring in my space and that were growing within me because I don't know. Maybe I just had an abundance of energy in general. I just couldn't control it, so it manifested itself in bad behavior. And there was this nun that used to protect me, my sister that ended up being, not my sister, but the sister that ended up being my sponsor for confirmation. And I started, of course, I realized later in my journey that I didn't really know much about the Bible, so I decided to take that journey of reading the Bible, understanding what it was about. Right. And honestly, it was just the first thing I picked up because I grew up Roman Catholic, like I said, and I just wanted to know what the stories were about. Who the heck were these characters? What's a prophet? Did Moses actually know Jesus? I didn't know. I didn't know there was a difference between the Old and New Testament, all that. I learned all of these things. I went back to the sister and she ignored me. She casted me away. It's like almost as if she threw fire at me, right? Or I was made out of poison or something. Long story short, what I'm trying to tell you is this. Your patriotism, when you're a high vibration individual, when you are on semen retention, doesn't matter at all, right? It doesn't matter at all. In the slightest, it matters. Because you are breaking the system. Because an inherent in that understanding of the type of individual that you are, rising in vibration, you understand now that the separate religions don't mean a goddamn thing. The bodies of thought don't mean a goddamn thing insofar as it explains the occurrences and the systems and the machinations of the objective reality. It doesn't matter if your God's name is Yahweh. It doesn't matter if your God's name is Allah. These things do not matter. Read both books. Understand what they are talking about in reference to the objective reality and eschew those things. Do not identify with religions. Not only that, because the proponents of those religions, those famous ones, will not like you anyway because you are of a high vibration. The objective truth that I'm trying to impart to you guys in this video is that semen retention will bring you to heights unimaginable, right? I can't even say unimaginable. Unimaginable. You will raise to levels unheard of, and you are raising your vibration. You are changing and modifying your genetic code. No religion is talking to you about this stuff, even though it is a molecular fact. Everything in my life has changed because I've been on this practice. Everything. And it will continue to change. What I'm saying is this. It doesn't matter what God you serve. It doesn't matter what flag you are born under. These people do not care about you the moment you start rising on semen retention. And it will do you well, my friend, to understand that completely, quickly, and make a counter action, not attack. We don't attack anyone. That's not what we do. That's not how we do it. We just keep going forward. Stay on the practice of semen retention. You will find your truth and you will discover and unravel the lies that this place perpetuates to you and all the other individuals in your midst. And with that being said, that is all I have to say to you today. If you guys like that kind of content, like, comment, subscribe, share the video with some peers, of course. Don't ever let this place get you down. Remember, the truth of this world comes in a metaphysical truth. It doesn't, you can understand it and perceive it a little through the little books that they teach you in the, Sunday schools, Saturday schools, whatever God or religion your parents served. And as a result, you indirectly will serve. Read these books, understand them. Do not identify with these gods and cultures, because the moment you start getting close to the objective truth and that monad, the creator, because there is a creator, de verdad, Native Americans spoke about it, and I'm sure the religions that encompass the times of the now, right, will talk about it as well. There is a source, there is a creator. The closer you get to this source, the more you will be hated by the individuals around you because their books lie. Their books tell you untruths. Stay celibate, guys, stay on semen retention, and carry not anger within your souls and vessels, but only understanding and only complete truth and expression of creativity. Stay radiant as well. I shall see you guys in the next video. Woo!